What to do in Boise, Idaho in the summertime. This puts a smile on my face. I love it here in the summertime, and hopefully you're gonna find some things that you would love about it if you moved here to Idaho. Hey, if you're new to the channel, my name's Craig Flood. I make videos each week about what it's like to eat here, live here, play here, and sleep here in the state of Idaho. Additionally, I'm a licensed real estate agent with an amazing team, and we help people just like you get relocated to Idaho. You can reach out anytime, days, nights, or weekends. You can call, text, or email, and we'd be happy to help. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about all the things that I love about Boise, Idaho, specifically the things that you can do here in the summertime. So number one, I'm going to say one of the crown jewels is that you can go enjoy the Boise River. The Boise River is phenomenal. Me and my family just a couple days ago were rafting it with some friends. You essentially raft it all the way from Barber Park, which is in kind of East Boise, and then you raft it all the way to downtown. There's a couple rapids that you drop off in there. The fishing is really good. I think I hooked into 3 fish as we were rafting that trip. Additionally, something unique about Boise is that, well, it has bridges that cross the river. That's not unique about Boise, but what is unique about that is that the city lets you jump off them. I say lets you. You're gonna see a theme in this video that Idaho, something I love about Idaho is they kind of release a little bit and just kind of let you do what you want to do. You want to ride a motorcycle without a helmet? Great, go do that. You want to jump off a bridge and potentially get hurt? Great, go do that. That's on you. I really like their approach to it versus just saying, no, don't do it. It's very much go do it. The Boise River, it's a very iconic float. It's very fun. I personally like it too because you get to see all the beautiful houses that are along the river, which there's not many. I was just talking to a client looking to move here and they want to live on water. In fact, that's another video I'm going to be doing soon, talking all about water in Boise, Idaho and what that looks like. Can you live on the water? How is that? So the Boise River is absolutely a must, whether you want to fish it, float it, or just put your feet in it because it's smoking hot in the summer time here sometimes. Next, another favorite of mine, it's going to be the Idaho Shakespeare Festival. So the Idaho Shakespeare Festival is a lovely outdoor festival. In fact, I wish I was there right now. The shows are so great. It feels very much like this. You kind of go at sunset, you see a lot of greenery. Also, I forgot to mention, I'm in Catherine Albertson's park right now. Downtown is literally a few minutes that way. But as you can tell, you would never know that. This is a great area. I love taking my kids. But the Idaho Shakespeare Festival, they have such good actors. The ambiance is perfect. It's just beautiful. Oh, there goes a hummingbird. So nice in here. You guys are doing a little evening stroll with me. So anyways, the ambiance is beautiful. You'd probably love it. I would encourage you to make reservations, get some good seats, even if you're coming on a scouting trip and you kind of want to take a break because we work you like a dog to really hone in what's going to be good for you, and you're like, I need to be done, I need a break, then look at the Idaho Shakespeare Festival and go grab tickets. Secretly, my goal is to make you guys fall in love with this area. So anything I can do to do that, because I want you to find out if it's going to be a good fit or not. And so part of that is like, let's do some enjoyable things while you're here, especially on a scouting trip, right? We're going to work you, but at the same time, we'll give you a break in the evening. But the Idaho Shakespeare Festival is an amazing thing that Boise, Idaho has to offer. And for me, it's definitely a plus in that category. And I'm in a park right now, so I might as well talk about it. But again, this is the Catherine Albertson's park. It's a very kind of wooded park. It's not your open fields and soccer fields kind of park. That's right next door at Ann Morrison. But even behind me, you know, it is kind of classic pond, wooded, think trail systems. I love bringing my kids down here because I'm on a walking path right now, but you can totally weave through the woods here and go through trails and climb trees and find snakes. And it's really fun for the kids. You can go see fish and turtles and frogs. Parks are a great thing in Boise. We have some reserve areas. We have the Camel's Back Park on the city's edge if you want to kind of go for a hike in the foothills. Lots of good options with lots of variety. I have young kids, so I'm always thinking about parks in relation to maybe play structures or how fun it's going to be for the children. Speaking of parks, it's like, man, we have bike parks where you can go BMX or mountain bike on. We got mountain biking trails. Kind of breaking into another subject. I'll hold off on that. But there's lots of parks in the city. It's not like you're going to come here and be like, man, they didn't design any parks. There's lots of parks. This one is definitely one of my favorite. Again, it's Catherine Albertson's, and it's just within walking distance of downtown. In fact, if you're coming here on a scouting trip, a lot of times we will have clients stay downtown. You could easily walk here. Another hotel that I've often recommended to people when they're coming on scouting trips is the Riverside Hotel. The nice thing about that is it's right up against the river, right? The river's an amazing thing to go enjoy, and the green belt's on that, which we'll touch on that too. And you also got the Whitewater Park, we'll also touch on that. But the Riverside Hotel is great. Again, you could walk here from the Riverside Hotel and get a nice evening walk. Now let's touch on the green belt. So I just mentioned Riverside Hotel, that's right on the green belt. The green belt is a 25-mile stretch of path, sometimes on both sides of the Boise rivers that cuts through the valley, for you to enjoy, for all of us to enjoy. So whether you want to go cycling on it, whether you want to go walking on it, whether it's like a means for you to get somewhere. It could be you're commuting to work and it's kind of the road that you get on. It's like, man, talk about a really relaxing commute to work. You get to take the green belt in. Gets you away from the cars. It's really busy in the summertime and on the weekends, depending on where you are. Again, it's a great access to get you from point A to point B, whether that's to go downtown or whether that's to go to a farmer's market or to get to a park with your kids or to go to the Whitewater Park. So let's talk about that real quick. The Whitewater Park. So this is going to be in Garden City, and this is essentially right next to Simplot Park, which is an amazing park. Another one, that's a pond where kids can go play. You can go for a swim, you can go paddleboarding, kayaking, bass fishing. But that's another really good spot to go hang out. But the Whitewater Park is gonna be our kind of Boise wave. Bend has a wave just like this. I just did a video comparing Boise and Bend, one of my last videos. So that's something where you can go kayaking on that wave. Sometimes they have it formed really good for kayaking, and then other times they have it formed really good for surfing. In addition to that, downstream of that, they have a larger wave that they periodically run sometimes that is just a monster. Really, you want to go on that if you're professional. But then downstream of that, there are these little micro waves too. I said microwaves like a microwave. Kind of mini waves that is really good if you want to get up on a stand-up paddleboard, not a stand-up paddleboard, like a longboard, or if your kid wants to jump out there with a boogie board. So the Whitewater Park is definitely something that is definitely a point of entertainment, and it brings surfing to a landlocked state. I just want to pause for a second. If you're serious about getting moved to Idaho, and specifically Boise, reach out. You can call, text, or email days, nights, or weekends. We know that a typical next step for people looking to relocate is a relocation/scouting trip. So we would love to assist you in that. We have done it for so many clients successfully, and we would love to help you with that too. Completely free on our part, but we're really good at helping you understand the city, figuring out what your lifestyle is, what you're wanting, to see if we can find something that will work for you here, so that if you want to call Boise, Idaho home, you can. All right, now one of my favorites, let's talk about fishing. Fishing in Boise, Idaho. So I'm a big fly fisherman, but if you're not a fly fisherman, the river is still really great for that. And you also have a lot of ponds around the city, and you have alpine lakes too. So there's a lot of different ways to fish. I personally really love fishing rivers. And so in town, you have the Boise River. Again, when me and my family were floating the Boise River just a few days ago, I think I caught 3 fish, but that just goes to show it's a great fishery just in town. We also have some really good fly shops with some great staff who can really help you understand the waters and what works. I have consistently gone into these fly fishing shops and they'll recommend a fly and boom, the fish are hitting on that fly. In addition to that, you have the Owyhee in Oregon, which is an amazing fishery to fish. In the summertime, it's so great because you don't got to wear waders. You can just put on your chacos and just get out there and just have a blast of a time without weighing down with gear. Additionally, you have the South Fork of the Boise, and there's just a ton of phenomenal fishing all around this area. So that's something you can do, fishing. Another thing you can do is you can go hiking. So we have Table Rock, which is a pretty fun hike. It takes you up above the city, kind of above our old state penitentiary, which is another fun thing to go see if you're kind of into history and you want to see a old state penitentiary. But that's a really fun hike, takes you to the top of the hill, big cross on top of the hill, and then you kind of look out over the city. In addition to that, there's lots of little hiking all around the Treasure Valley in the foothills. A good home base for that's going to be Camel's Back Park. That's going to be in the north end of the city. They have a kids' play area. They have a nice field. They have tennis courts. It's a really centralized hub to go hang out. It's the north end of Boise, which is a very coveted area. Think old homes, craftsman style, things like that. But that's a great area to go to. They also have Hyde Park, so you can get good food, get a coffee in the morning. you can go there. But mountain biking is really good to get access to mountain biking trails from right there. And also it's an access point if you go up past that for motorcycles, ATVs, and things like that. The foothills are amazing. The fact that one, they're so close to the city. I talked to a lot of you who are thinking about relocating to Idaho, and one of your reasons for coming is you're like, man, I just want to get in the outdoors where I currently live. You know, you drive 30 minutes and you look for parking for 30 minutes and then you walk for 30 minutes. Honestly, it just seems like a nightmare. And then even when you get to where you're going, it sounds like it's probably super crowded. So coming to a place like this is just amazing because everything's so close. I can't promise it's always going to be like this. I hope it is like this in a decade, but it's a super desirable place to live and people are figuring that out, and a lot of people are coming because they want that for themselves. Now, I'm not a big sports guy in this sense, but we do have some sports. You can go to a Boise Hawks game, or you can go to our hockey team. I went to one of those games. It was actually really fun. I personally don't know much about hockey, so I'm trying to figure out why people are doing what they're doing. But there are some things like that. You're not gonna find anything major. I'm originally from the Seattle area. It's not like you got the Seahawks here or anything like that. So you're definitely gonna give up on that a little bit. You also figure out what team you're gonna root for if you do move here, because you're gonna have to be like an orphan fan at that point. Somebody's gonna have to adopt you to support their team. So we do have something, though it's not crazy major, especially if you're coming from a big city and what you're used to. Another good thing to do in the summertime is gonna be the farmer's market. Something fun about this, and I've already mentioned some of these things, but the farmer's market, at least one of them, is right on the edge of Boise, kind of more towards the west side. And again, remember how I talked about the green belt and things like that? So me and my family, we live on the Boise bench. And something I love about this city, and one of the reasons that we moved here, is that I would say it has a kind of high bikeability score, in my opinion. Meaning, like, me and my family, we get out, we're not super close to downtown, like a 10-minute drive. But we can easily bike to downtown. And so the other day, me and my family went out, we biked, and we just had some time, so we were gonna go hit a park, but then we hit the farmer's market. And it's super fun to pull up on our bikes to the farmer's market. There were a ton of other cyclists there too. But we got to walk around. We got some like fresh made lemonade. My kids got to run around, see some interesting things. And it was really fun because we could easily bike there from the greenbelt. So once we got off the greenbelt, it was just a hop and a skip. I think like a block, I think just a block, and we were there at parking. And so it's just a fun thing to do. And then after that, we ended up going to a park. And again, Boise feels like a small town. We ended up going to a park and some of our friends were at that park. And so it was fun to be able to see them. But it's things like that where, yes, Boise has these things to do, which I'm trying to tell you as much as I can right now, but they're also like intertwined, right? It's like, well, the parks are great. Great, well then go to a park. Again, I have kids. Go to a park and then go to the farmer's market and then go maybe get a dinner or nice lunch down by the river. If you like coffee, snag a good coffee before you hit that, and then end it with like a swim at Quinn's Pond or with a swim in the Boise River. So you have lots of options. Now let's talk about downtown. That's like something in and of itself. You can go to downtown, you could go to the museums, you can go get ice cream, you can, again, go to one of the professional hockey games, you can go get a tour of the state capitol, you can go to one of the major parks down there, you can go to the zoo, right? The zoo is super fun. What else can you do? You can go shopping. I don't shop that much, but maybe you're really into shopping. You can go shopping for home goods, or you can go into clothing stores, or if you're getting married, they got like dress shops downtown. But there's lots of things to do downtown. It's a very vibrant downtown. There's a good bagel, like is it Blue? I think it's like Blue Star Bagel, Blue Sky Bagel. Great bagel place that's got good breakfast bagels that I like to go to in the morning, especially in the wintertime when I'm on my way to go snowboard up at Bogus Basin. That's another thing. You go up to Bogus Basin, you go mountain biking at Bogus Basin. In the summertime, Bogus Basin is really geared towards mountain biking. And then obviously in the wintertime, you go skiing, snowboarding there. Again, I talked to a lot of you. Don't forget, Boise, Idaho has a great ski mountain, Bogus Basin, like 45 minutes up from downtown Boise. All right, now the final thing I want to say about things you can do, and this is going to be my favorite one, and is one of the benefits of being in Boise, is all the things you can do outside of Boise. Yes, there's all these things you can do here, but remember, if you move to Boise, Idaho, you get access to all of Idaho. What that means is that in the summertime, well, in the summertime, it can get really hot in the Treasure Valley, let's say plus 100 degrees for maybe 1-2+ weeks, depending. And so that kind of just happened. We're kind of in it right now. It's still really hot right now. And so me and my family, we took off and we went and explored Idaho. So we went all the way over to Wyoming and explored the lower half of Idaho and just had such a great time. And man, Idaho is just unbelievably beautiful. So many great things, the sights, the animals, the things you see. We were in Wyoming just for a little bit, and again, you're not too far from Wyoming, and so you get all the benefits of that. But we were like crossing the road, and we had to wait for bison, and you know, we saw the Tetons, which are just jaw-dropping as you drive up out of Jackson Hole. And then we went from there in between the Grand Tetons and Yellowstone, there's like this little kind of gap, and you can do dispersed camping in that area. And so we ended up camping there and seeing deer and catching fish, and my kids caught a ton of frogs, which I just think as a child, man, it's like, oh, what a dream for them to just run around and find frogs, and it's like all they wanted. They were super happy. And then from there, we dropped down kind of near Pocatello. Let's see, southeast of Pocatello, there's a little town called Lava Hot Springs. And in Lava Hot Springs, super fun, we grabbed a KOA campsite, and then they had a water park. And there's a little river cutting through town, so you can go raft the river, and there are hot springs everywhere. So me and my kids would raft the river, and then we'd slip out of the river because there'd be these little hot springs built up on the side where people pool the hot water. But then there is a water park there. Super fun about the water park is that they had high dive, so a 5 meter, a 7 meter, and a 10 meter. And like, kudos to my daughter Grace, because she totally did the 5 meter. That's 15 feet that she jumped off of. That was like super fun to see her just like push herself to go do that. So anyways, there are those things. In addition to that, then we went camping on the South Fork of the Boise River. There's a reservoir right up there. I'll actually show you some shots of that here. Another great reservoir for people who want to go boating and kind of dispersed camping. But again, we camped at this beautiful spot right next to the river that feeds into that river, the South Fork of the Boise. And it was great. I had a blast, my kids had a blast. Just across the river from us was another hot spring that kind of led in off the hillside, and so you had the river right here and then the hot spring that led into it. And it was fun. One night, me and my kids and a friend of mine took his kids, and we like fjorded the river across. It got about knee high, but we were literally walking across this river at night with lights for the kids to experience the hot springs, that specific one, for the first time. And for them, it's just like, oh my gosh, like, what'd you do on your camping trip? It's like we literally crossed a river at night with flashlights and then sat in a hot spring and looked at the stars, right? And you're like, okay. And me and my buddy are looking at each other. They just moved down from Spokane, and prior to that, they're on the East Coast. But we're just like, man, like, talk about childhood memories right there. All brought to you by Idaho. You're looking for another video to watch? Watch that one next, all about the pros and cons of Boise, Idaho, and I'll see you guys in the next video.